safe at home. Welcome back to our English class. Let's start our English class with a word of the day. For that, today I will give you a word that is cease. Cease. Okay, how do you pronounce this? Cease. Okay, cease. What's the meaning cease? Do you know? This is not cheese. Okay, this is cease. Cease. Okay, what is the meaning cease? Cease means come to an end. Come to an end, or else we can say stop. Okay, cease means stop or come to an end. Okay, what is the meaning cease? Come to an end or stop. Have you got it? Which word we have learned today? Cease. Okay, cease, which means come to an end or else stop. Okay, for example, the baby ceased crying. The baby ceased crying. That means the baby stopped crying. Okay? Did you understand? What word? Cease, which means come to an end or else stop. Okay? The baby ceased crying. The baby stopped crying. Did you understand? Okay, dear students, learn this word and you have to write 5 sentences by your own and send it to me. Okay? Now, let's jump into our lesson. What lesson we are learning, do you remember? Yes, ice skating, right? Ice skating. Who are the characters in the story? Very good. Joe, Amy, and Laurie, right? Okay. Why did they go? Where did these 3 children go? Yes, they went for ice skating, right? Okay, then what happened? Who fell down? Joe or Amy? Very good, Amy, right? Amy fell down into that river, right? Okay, then did they save that child? Who? Yes, this Joe and Laurie, right? They saved Amy. Am I right? Then at last, what did they do? Yes, they planned to take her to home, right? Then in home, will her mother scold? Yes or no? No idea, right? Yes, till that we have learned, right? Today in this class, we are going to learn the remaining part, okay? Before getting to that explanation, let's read the text, okay? Dear students, take your book, open it, page number 32, okay? From 3rd para, okay? Take your book, open it, page number 32. Shivering, dripping and crying, they got Amy home. Mrs. Mudge, the mother of the girls, opened the door. Laurie told her what had happened. Mrs. Mudge calmly took care of Amy. Soon, Amy fell asleep, wrapped up in blankets before a hot fire. All this time, Jo ran about with her clothes dirty and her hands cut and bruised by the ice and rails. When Amy was comfortably asleep, Mrs. Mudge called Jo and began to bandage the hurt hands. Are you sure she's safe? Whispered Jo, looking at Amy's head, which showed above the blankets. Quite safe, dear. She's not hurt and won't even catch a cold. I think you and Lori did the right thing by covering her in warm clothes and getting her home quickly, replied her mother cheerfully. We will never go skating again, said Joe. That's not right, said Mrs. Mudge. You should just take care of each other when you go out to play. Have you all read? Did you understand anything? Okay, let's see the explanation of this part. Okay, shivering, dripping, and crying, they got Amy's home. Okay, see that girl, she was shivering. Okay, Amy was shivering. Shivering means shaking. Okay, shivering and dripping. What's the meaning dripping? Dripping means melting. Okay, see in her body that ice, it melted and it came like water. Okay, then dripping and crying, they reached Amy's home. Okay, when they came to their home, who opened that door? Yes, Joe and Amy's mom. Okay, her name is Mrs. March. Okay, Mrs. March, mother of Joe and Amy. Okay, then they reached their home. Mrs. March, she opened that door and she saw her daughter. At that time, this Lori, okay, this little boy Lori, he told what had happened. Okay, he told everything to Mrs. March. Okay, Mrs. March, she took care of her daughter Amy. Okay, then they came inside their house. Then she covered her with some blankets near a hot fire. Okay, for what? Yes, then only she will feel hot, right? Yes. And Annie was asleep. Okay, she was sleeping well. Okay, then this Jew, her dress, everything dirt. Okay, her dress are dirty, and also in her hands it was cut and bruised. Bruised means hurt. Okay, cut and hurt by ice and rails. Okay, she took the rails from the fence, right? At that time it hurt her hands. Okay, her mom, Mrs. March, she came near to Jew and she bandaged with her hands. Okay, she gave some medicine. Okay, into her hands. Got it? Okay, then at that time this Jew, she was asking to her mom, are you sure she's okay? Okay, who was asking like that? Jew. To whom? To her mom, Mrs. March. Okay, are you sure she's okay? Okay, then her mom said, yes, quite safe dear. Okay, no problem. Okay, she's okay now. She didn't get any hurt and even she didn't get cold also. She's fine. Okay, you and Lori done that good job. Okay, you have covered her with warm clothes and you took her to home as soon as fast, right? So no problem. Don't worry. Okay, she's okay now. Okay, who said like that? Her mom. Will your mom say like this? No, right? Mommy will beat. Why did you go out? Right? Why did you go out? That's why you heard like this. Yes, but this Annie and Joe's mom, she didn't scold. Okay? She just gave some advice. Her mom, Mrs. March, she replied to her with cheerfully. Cheerfully means happily. Okay? She replied to her happily and she said, this Jew, she was saying that hereafter I won't go. Who said? Jew. But her mom said, no, you should not say like that. Okay, you should go and play, but you should take care of each other. Okay, while playing, you should take care of each other. Okay, have you got it? Did you understand the story? Yes. What did you learn from this story? Yes. We have to do all the activities. Okay, we have to do all the activities. We have to participate in any sports and games, everything, but we have to take care of ourselves and our surrounding. Okay, have you got it? Yes. Hereafter, will you please safely? Yes. Dear students, hope you understand this lesson. Now I will play the animation video of this lesson. Okay, then you will get some more idea about this lesson. Okay, are you ready? Shall we watch? Yes.
Joe and Amy were sisters. Their friend Laurie lived next door to them. The three children always played together. One winter, the three children decided to go to the river. If the river was frozen, they wanted to skate on it. Joe and Laurie, the two older children, ran ahead of Amy. It was not far to the river, but both were ready before Amy reached them. Laurie did not see her coming. He was carefully skating along the shore, checking to see if ice was thick enough to skate on. He shouted,
"I'm going on to the first bend to see if it's all right before we begin to race."
Amy saw Laurie skate away, looking like a young Russian in his furry coat and cap. Joe was skating nearby. She heard Amy panting after her run. Amy was stamping her feet and blowing on her fingers as she tried to put her skates on. Joe didn't turn around and went slowly, zigzagging down the river after Laurie. As Laurie turned the bend, he shouted back,
"Keep near the shore! The ice is thin in the middle."
Joe heard, but Amy was too far away to hear him. Joe looked back and saw Amy start skating and thought,
She must have heard.
Joe started to skate towards the bend. Laurie had skated round the bend and Joe was just at the turn. Amy started to skate towards the smoother ice in the middle of the river. Suddenly, Joe stopped and stood still. Joe turned around just in time to see Amy fall. The thin ice broke with a crash, and there was a splash of water. Joe heard Amy scream loudly. Joe tried to call Laurie, but her voice was gone. She tried to rush forward, but her feet seemed weak. She could only stand, staring with her terror-stricken face at Amy's blue hood above the water. Suddenly, Laurie shouted,
"Bring a rail from the fence! Quick, quick!"
For the next few minutes, Joe blindly did what Laurie said. Laurie was lying flat on the ice, holding Amy up with his arm and hockey stick. Joe dragged a rail from the fence. Together, they pulled Amy out, who was more frightened than hurt.
"We must take her home as fast as we can. Let's wrap our warm things around her while I take off her skates,"
said Laurie. He wrapped his coat round Amy and pulled at the straps of Amy's skates. Shivering, dripping, and crying, they got Amy home. Mrs. March, the mother of the girls, opened the door. Laurie told her what had happened. Mrs. March calmly took care of Amy. Soon, Amy fell asleep, wrapped up in blankets before a hot fire. All this time, Joe ran about, with her clothes dirty and her hands cut and bruised by the ice and rails. When Amy was comfortably asleep, Mrs. March called Joe and began to bandage the hurt hands.
Are you sure she's safe?
Whispered Joe, looking at Amy's head, which showed above the blankets.
Quite safe, dear. She's not hurt and won't even catch a cold. I think you and Laurie did the right thing by covering her in warm clothes and getting her home quickly,
replied her mother cheerfully.
We will never go skating again.
Said Joe.
That's not right.
said Mrs. March.
You should just take care of each other when you go out to play.
Students, hope you understand this story. Please read the text thoroughly, then underline the hard words, learn the meanings, okay? Then try to write the answers for the book back questions, okay? This is your homework. We will meet in next class.